Carbohydrates primarily function as a major source of energy in the human diet. While they are not classified as essential nutrients, since the body can convert certain amino acids into glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis, they are crucial for fueling physical activity, especially in athletes. Carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and are classified based on the number of sugar units they contain: monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides are single sugar molecules and include glucose, fructose, and galactose. Glucose is the primary energy source for cells and circulates in the bloodstream. It is also stored in the body as glycogen within muscle and liver cells. Isolated glucose, commonly found in sports drinks and candy, is referred to as dextrose. Fructose has the same chemical formula as glucose, but with a different atomic arrangement, making it taste significantly sweeter. It naturally occurs in fruits, vegetables, and honey. In the body, fructose leads to lower insulin secretion than other sugars, which has made it a subject of research for its potential impact on endurance performance. Galactose combines with glucose to form lactose, the primary sugar in milk. Disaccharides. These are composed of two linked monosaccharides. Sucrose, or table sugar, is a combination of glucose and fructose. It occurs naturally in fruits and is crystallized from sugar cane or sugar beets for common use. Lactose, or milk sugar, consists of glucose and galactose and is only found in mammalian milk. Maltose contains two glucose units and primarily forms when polysaccharides are broken down during digestion. It is also present during the fermentation process in alcohol and is a major carbohydrate in beer. Polysaccharides, known as complex carbohydrates. Polysaccharides consist of numerous glucose units. Starch is the storage form of glucose in plants and is abundant in grains, legumes, and vegetables. It must be broken down into glucose before it can be used as an energy source. Dietary fiber, another form of polysaccharide, is found in plant cell walls and cannot be digested by human enzymes. Fiber types include cellulose, hemicellulose, pectins, and beta-glucans, each providing different physiological benefits. Some fibers delay gastric emptying, promoting satiety, while others increase bulk in the digestive tract, reducing constipation and transit time. Some soluble fibers can also decrease cholesterol absorption, potentially lowering blood cholesterol levels. Fiber-rich foods include beans, peas, bran, various fruits and vegetables, and whole grains. Glycogen is another polysaccharide stored in the liver and muscle, serving as an energy reserve. In a lean person, glycogen stores are approximately 15 grams per kilogram of body weight. About 3/4 of the body's glycogen is stored in skeletal muscle, with the remainder in the liver. The process of converting glucose to glycogen is called glycogenesis. The glycemic index measures the rate at which carbohydrates raise blood glucose levels within 2 hours of consumption compared to a reference food, usually white bread or pure glucose, which is assigned a glycemic index value of 100. Foods with a high glycemic index are digested quickly, causing rapid spikes in blood glucose levels, while foods with a low glycemic index are digested more slowly, resulting in a gradual increase in blood sugar. The glycemic load considers both the glycemic index of a food and the amount of carbohydrate it contains in a typical serving, providing a more comprehensive picture of a food's impact on blood glucose levels. The glycemic load is calculated by multiplying the glycemic index by the grams of carbohydrate per serving and then dividing by 100. Foods with a high glycemic load are expected to lead to greater increases in blood sugar and insulin release compared to foods with a lower glycemic load. Research suggests that diets with a low glycemic load combined with regular exercise may improve insulin sensitivity, particularly in older adults with obesity. Additionally, observational studies indicate that diets with a low glycemic index or glycemic load may be associated with lower levels of inflammation, which is a potential risk factor for chronic diseases. Some studies also find that diets with a lower glycemic index or glycemic load may be linked to reduced levels of fasting insulin and fewer cardiovascular risk factors, although more research is needed to confirm these findings. Carbohydrates are critical for athletes as they maintain energy levels, particularly during prolonged or high-intensity activities. Adequate glycogen levels not only fuel exercise but also help spare protein for muscle repair and growth rather than being used as an energy source. Endurance athletes, for those engaging in moderate intensity activities for 90 minutes or more each day, like distance running, cycling, or cross-country skiing, carbohydrate intake should be approximately 8 to 10 grams per kilogram of body weight daily to maintain glycogen stores. So high-intensity intermittent sport athletes in sports such as soccer, basketball, or other high-intensity activities also benefit from a carbohydrate intake in the same range to support performance and quick recovery. Strength, sprint, and skill-based athletes focusing on activities that require strength, speed, or skill generally need less carbohydrate, approximately 5 to 6 grams per kilogram of body weight daily, to meet their energy needs. To replenish glycogen after endurance training, athletes should consume about 1.5 grams of higher glycemic carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight within 30 minutes post-exercise. This immediate intake helps stimulate glycogen resynthesis. Athletes can continue consuming carbohydrate-rich meals or snacks every 2 hours after training to further support recovery. For those who do not train daily, glycogen stores can be gradually restored over a 24-hour period by consuming sufficient carbohydrates throughout the day. Though carbohydrate intake is a key factor in athletic performance, some athletes may adapt to a low carbohydrate diet over time, which leads their bodies to use fat more efficiently as a fuel source during exercise, and this approach can be beneficial in certain situations, such as weight management or when adjusting caloric intake, but may influence performance depending on the specific sport and training demands. Fats, also known as lipids, encompass a wide category of molecules that includes triglycerides, sterols, and phospholipids. In nutritional terms, the most significant lipids are triglycerides, fatty acids, phospholipids, and cholesterol. Triglycerides, which are the primary form of fat in both food and the human body, are made up of a glycerol molecule bound to 3 fatty acids. For the purpose of nutrition, the term fat generally refers to triglycerides. Like carbohydrates, fats are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. However, fats contain more carbon and hydrogen relative to oxygen, which allows them to store more energy. Fats provide approximately 9 kilocalories per gram, which is more than double the 4 kilocalories per gram provided by carbohydrates and proteins. Dietary fats and oils contain a mixture of various types of fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids, These contain no double bonds and have carbon atoms fairly saturated with hydrogen. Although the body uses saturated fats for certain structural and physiological functions, it can synthesize them, so they are not required in the diet. High intake of saturated fats can lead to increased levels of low-density lipoprotein, LDL, a type of cholesterol linked to heart disease. Unsaturated fatty acids. These contain one or more double bonds, making them chemically more reactive. They are divided into monounsaturated fatty acids. These have a single double bond. Foods rich in monounsaturated fats include olive oil, peanut oil, and canola oil. Polyunsaturated fatty acids. These contain two or more double bonds. The two essential polyunsaturated fatty acids, which the body cannot produce on its own, are omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids is found in foods like soybean oil, corn oil, and safflower oil. Omega-3 fatty acids commonly found in fatty fish such as salmon, herring, trout, and mackerel. These fish provide omega-3 fatty acids known as eicosapentaenoic acid, EPA, and docosahexaenoic acid, DHA, which may reduce triglycerides and have heart protective properties. Another source of omega-3 is alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, found in flax seeds, walnuts, and canola oil. However, the conversion of ALA to EPA and DHA in the body is inefficient, so direct sources of EPA and DHA are preferable. Fats play an important role in food, enhancing flavor, aroma, and texture. Foods typically contain a mix of saturated, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated fats. For example, soybean and corn oils are high in polyunsaturated fats, while olive oil and peanut oil are high in monounsaturated fats. Animal fats and tropical oils, such as coconut oil, are high in saturated fats. In the body, fat serves several essential functions: energy, storage. Fat is stored primarily in adipose tissue, but small amounts are also found in muscles, especially in endurance-trained athletes. Insulation and protection. Body fat cushions organs and insulates against temperature changes. Nutrient transport. Fat helps carry and store fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Hormone production. Essential fatty acids are involved in producing hormones and maintaining healthy cell membranes, especially in the brain and nervous system. Relationship with cholesterol. Cholesterol is a waxy fat-like substance found in cell membranes. It is vital for producing bile salts, vitamin D, and hormones like estrogen, androgen, progesterone, and cortisol. However, high levels of cholesterol in the blood can lead to atherosclerosis, where plaque builds up on artery walls, restricting blood flow and increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. Low-density lipoprotein, LDL, often called bad cholesterol. LDL can lead to plaque buildup in the arteries. Smaller, dense LDL particles, known as very low-density lipoproteins, VLDL, are especially associated with atherosclerosis. High-density lipoprotein, HDL, known as good cholesterol. HDL helps remove excess cholesterol from the bloodstream. High levels of HDL are associated with a lower risk of heart disease. A high intake of refined carbohydrates, weight gain, and excessive alcohol consumption can increase levels of triglycerides, a type of fat in the blood, while factors like a sedentary lifestyle, obesity, and smoking also raise triglycerides. So the 2015 dietary guidelines recommend limiting saturated fat intake to less than 10% of total daily calories and replacing saturated fats with unsaturated fats, especially polyunsaturated fats. It also advises avoiding trans fats found in partially hydrogenated oils and limiting added sugars to no more than 10% of total daily calories. Fat and athletic performance. Both stored fat in muscles and circulating fatty acids in the bloodstream serve as energy sources during exercise. The body has a much greater capacity to store fat than carbohydrates, making fat a substantial energy reserve, especially for endurance athletes. A lean individual weighing around 72 kilograms, approximately 160 pounds, with 4% body fat, has about 22,400 calories stored in fat. At rest and during low-intensity exercise, fat oxidation, breakdown for energy, is the primary fuel source. As exercise intensity increases, the body shifts from fat to carbohydrate as the preferred energy source. Regular aerobic training enhances the muscle's ability to use fatty acids for energy. Similarly, a high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet over time can lead to the body relying more on fat for fuel, although this adaptation may affect performance differently for each individual.